What's going on, everybody out there? This is Popular Stranger, and we are back at you again today with another MUT 20 video. Actually, a Madden 20 video. Got my intros confused there. Today, we're going to be talking about some gameplay things that have to do with Madden 20, specifically X Factor abilities. What these are going to do in game, in regular game, in MUT. So what we're going to do is going to be kind of a two-part video. We're going to just go through the blog. If you guys have not read it yet, the link will be down below in the description. I haven't read through it yet, but I did watch the live stream, and I kind of took all that info in. There was a lot to gather. So in the second part of the video, Clint joined Kraylo and talked about Superstar X Factor abilities and how they play in different game modes. So after I kind of go through the blog with you guys, I'm just going to show you that footage from the live stream in case you missed it. I'm just going to show you the entire thing because there was a lot of stuff that they went over, and it's going to be hard just to summarize it. So let's take a look at the blog here first. So this is from Clint as well, who is the senior gameplay designer. Basically, in Madden 20, they had a very clear focus, and I will summarize through a lot of this. You might want to go read through it yourself. Very clear focus targeting three primary creative pillars, all driven by player feedback, which is us. Make NFL stars feel like stars. Absolutely agree with it. I know the conversation that's going to be had about all of this content, and people are worried it's going to turn into an arcade mode. But I like that they're addressing this because I'm primarily a MUT player, so I hate that all the cards feel the same and everybody uses the same cards. I think what they're trying to do, and maybe it's going to fail and we don't know, we just need to give it a chance. They're trying to make each card and each player feel unique or feel the way that they feel in real NFL football, as far as like player animations, things that they're really good at. That's why they're kind of focusing on Patrick Mahomes in this video. So I like that. Number two, build unique playbooks and new NFL strategy. We know that they're putting RPOs in the game. I think there's a pump fake mechanic that they said was coming out. So these are things that are, in the NFL right now, especially RPOs after Nick Foles and the success that the Eagles had winning a Super Bowl. It's something that they're introducing. And then the last one is create more immersive moments and deliver a polished experience. That's developer talk. I don't care about that bullet point. Every in-game feature built for Madden 20 is aligned with one of these three pillars while still being committed to delivering the most authentic and most fun NFL experience we can have. So Superstar X Factors, what are they? The NFL is a star-driven league in which we tune in every Sunday, Monday, and Thursday to see how these unique athletes' stories will unfold as they take the field. Blah, 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 blah. Not going to read through all that. Basically what they're saying, and you'll see this when Clint talks, is that they have 50 players that are having a loadout of powerful abilities, including one zone ability. And what a zone ability is, to summarize, is it's an in-game objective, and we don't know how this is going to play out in MUT, but they should be in MUT. It's an in-game objective that you have to meet, and if you meet that, you get this special ability on a card. So it's not something you can just purchase. You actually have to do things in-game to unlock this, and you, as a defense or as an offense, vice versa, you can counter that with your players in your gameplay. So I like that. It's, to me, rewarding people who can do certain things or are good at certain things, that they get to take advantage that way. And it's not something where you just throw money at it like a red chem. It only works, and this is just for the zone thing, it only works if you meet an in-game ability, so our objective. So when the objective is achieved, they will enter the zone and have access to use their special ability until their opponent knocks it out. These players also have several superstar abilities equipped, which will be active at all times during gameplay to truly emphasize their unique skill sets and make them powerful or hard to stop, just like real-life counterparts. For both zone abilities and superstar abilities, what sets them apart is not that they are rating boosts or modifications. These behaviors, characteristics, and situational outcomes, aspects of football, and it'll be very clear to our players what impact they're going to have on the game by complementing the player ratings, not modifying them. So they give Mahomes as a example. So the zone ability, the bazooka, the big one that everybody, they teased it a couple weeks ago. he can throw 80-yard passes, and everybody thought that, you know, you're going to be able to get Mahomes and just run around all game throwing 80-yard passes. So he does have that ability, okay? The objective, and they did say this is not set in stone yet, but it was like complete a certain number of 30-yard passes. I've been playing Madden for a long time. If they make it like 5 30-yard passes, just think about it realistically. How many games have you played of Madden, unless you're somebody extremely good and you match up against a lot of people who are extremely bad? How many 30-yard passes are you getting in one game? Probably not a ton, right? So they can make it to where it's not going to be something that's going to be every game. And then also, if you throw an interception while you're trying to do that, or you get sacked, that knocks you out. You got to start over. So it feels like it has a good balance so far. We have to wait until we play the game, though. His superstar abilities, some of these worry me. Now, from a MUT standpoint, I would imagine that these are, well, they said these are replacing red chems, right? So I would imagine that early in the game with power-ups, they're only going to be able to get one, and then maybe towards Christmas to the end of the year, they'll be able to get to, probably when they reach like a 90, what was it, 95 overall was this year, to get 2 red chems. I could be wrong there. Maybe it was 90. I'm pretty sure it was 95 though. So no look, dead eye, perfect passing accuracy on crossbody throws. That one worries me a little bit, but I think they said that's exclusive to Mahomes, which means a lot of people will probably be using his MUT card this year. Escape artist, elite speed and agility when scrambling on passing plays. I'm okay with that one. Dashing dead eye, perfect passing accuracy when throwing on the run. I think I'm okay with that one. Red zone dead eye, perfect passing accuracy when throwing inside the red zone. That one I could see being a little bit cheesy. There's also a group of additional players we're calling superstars. These players will be equipped with superstar abilities just like X Factors, but they will not have a special zone ability to unlock. Here's a look at Patriots wide receiver Julian Edelman's superstar ability. So his is Slot-O-Matic, and they did say these names could change. Excels at route running and contested catches when running routes from a slot receiver position. So this one's really important, right? Because nobody uses Julian Edelman in MUT. Let's just be real. Unless you're building an all-Patriots team, you guys all have Randy Moss, Tyreek Hill, and somebody else, right? Julian Edelman is one of the best receivers in the NFL. Let's be real. But he's not flashy, he's not sexy, and he's never going to be good in MUT because he just, his measurables don't match up. They are equipping a guy like this with something that he excels at in the slot with these abilities. I like this. They're trying to make players who maybe don't get a lot of love in MUT, and I'm primarily focusing on MUT right now, but they're trying to equip these guys who have these abilities in real life, who can do these things, but it just doesn't translate to Madden. They're attempting at doing that. So here are some more superstar abilities. They have Pass Lead Elite, extended precision passing on all throws except high and low throw. Pocket Deadeye, perfect passing accuracy when passing with the QB's feet set from inside the pocket. So that kind of sounds like, you know, nobody uses pocket passers in MUT either. Everybody's got Vic, McNabb, you know, the fast quarterbacks. Maybe this is a way to make Tom Brady feel more usable, to make, you know, I'm trying to think of somebody else, Jared Goff feel more usable. Matchup Nightmare, gets open and wins contested catches when covered by a single linebacker or defensive lineman. I think that could go for a lot of people. Edge Rush Elite, frequently uses dominant pass rush moves when rushing from a defensive end position. That one worries me a lot because you guys know the offensive line has stunk in Madden for a while now, so that one does worry me. So every ability in the game will have a counter. All abilities can be countered by user skill mechanics and or counter abilities. So when Julian Edelman, I feel like I may have called him Julian Edelman at some point in this video. If I did, don't make fun of me. Is using his Slot-O-Matic ability that allows him to hang on to catches in traffic. If the defender is covering him, has either zoned out or man up catch knockout ability, then the outcome will be decided by a 50-50 flip. So there are counters to these things, and that's going to be important when you're building your team. The list of players we chosen to be Superstar X Factors is an elite and exclusive list that will evolve with the NFL season. The Superstar X Factors will be changing throughout the year based on players' performances in the real life. So, not going to go through that. Superstar X Factors in franchise mode. I'm going to skip over that. You guys can read the blog. This one is what I want to see. In Ultimate Team. In MUT, chemistry abilities are being replaced by superstar abilities, which will bring you more customization tools for your team. That's what Madden Ultimate Team is to me. While more tools will be available in the toolbox for your players, there will be specific trade-offs and choices that you'll have to make strategically. If you are a player who relies heavily on pre-play adjustments and hot routes, you'll probably want to grab some pre-play abilities, whereas if you're more into scrambling with your QB, you'll be interested in equipping some mobile QB abilities. In most cases, you won't be able to get them all on the same player, okay? We're excited to see how players will utilize these abilities, blah, 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 blah. Superstar animation. So they kind of did this on the stream, and I checked out at that point because I wanted to get this video out. They just showed like Aaron Rodgers and Mahomes. They're trying to get their actual throwing animation. So you know, Rodgers sometimes kind of does like a shot put throw. They had that, and then like the signature kickback with Mahomes. So they talked about that. Pump fake mechanics is something that they talked about a couple weeks ago that was going to be introducing. Signature animations and special moves. This is more so about like celebrations and stuff. Juke, spin, hurdle, truck are going to be a little signatured, it looks like. Immersion and quality polish. Not going to read through that either. We significantly shortened the amount of time spent showing gameplay before and after the play. What's important to note here is that both the game clock and play clock naturally will be accelerated. So this just sounds like some stuff like they're getting to the line faster, pass rush, in-game feedback system, refactor of under pressure QB penalties. That's something Clint talked about that you guys are going to see in a moment. They totally reworked pass rush, containing like quarterbacks who try to get outside the pocket, and how they cause pressure and how their pressure effects on throws. Gang sack sounds like something with an animation there. Rush get up animations. If players get knocked down to the ground while the play is still alive, they will now hurry to get up off the field and be more aware of the in-game situation. So these more so sound like limits on lurking linebackers. You know what? I may focus an entirely second video on a lot of this stuff because I kind of want to read through that. I more so wanted to focus this video on Superstar X Factor abilities. So those are my thoughts on it. Listen to what Clint and Kralo talk about. They're going to discuss it more in depth there. You hear it straight from Clint's mouth. Thank you guys for tuning in the video. Enjoy the rest of it. And we'll see you again later.
Madden Daily Drops, and we're going to talk a little bit about Superstar X Factors.
Yeah,
so, you know.
Excited.
Yeah, I mean, let's go ahead and just, get to it real quick here. Superstar X Factors, what are they?
Great question. Superstar X Factors is a group, actually two groups of very special players. These are guys that take over NFL games, the star-driven league of the NFL. These are guys like our cover boy, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Donald from the Rams, Alvin Kamara, Juju from the Steelers. These are the elite NFL superstars that can do things that the rest of us wish we could do.
Okay, awesome. And help me understand, like, why are we doing Superstar X Factors?
Yes, so the main purpose is to make stars feel like stars. And with that comes diversifying gameplay strategy, de-homogenizing the experience, making players have to rely on different strategies based on the players they have on their team and the players they're playing against. And to really make these guys feel like themselves and bring that wow factor that they bring to the NFL field. And the ways that we're doing that is through what we call superstar abilities and zone abilities. So when I talked about the two groups of players, there's the X Factors. That's going to be a group of 50 players, the most elite players in the league, and they have special abilities that they use on the field. But in addition to those special abilities, they also have a zone ability. These players are going to be able to earn that zone ability via in-game objectives. That's going to give them a special power that could be countered by the defense via their own in-game objective. And then there's a subset, another group of players, total number to be determined, probably fluid through most of the year. They're going to have superstar abilities, but they're not going to have the zone ability. Okay. And these superstar abilities are things that are always available to these players. They're going to be used situationally, and we're going to go into some of those details here in a minute, right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you mentioned Superstar X Factor players. They have these zone abilities. Can you talk a little bit about, what those are. You know, I mean, I know we saw one of them in one of the articles where they highlighted bazooka, right?
Yeah.
And I think we should probably use that as a great example to kind of tee into this. Bazooka, what is that?
Bazooka is Patrick Mahomes' zone ability.
Okay.
So once he meets his in-game objective, which is yet to be determined in terms of tuning, but it's, for example, going to be complete a certain number of passes during the game that are for 30 or 40 yards or more, then his maximum pass distance is going to be increased to an extra 15 yards roughly, so about 80 yards.
Okay.
Our default max pass distance in game is and has been 70. He's going to get an extra 10 to 15 yards on top of that. And he's actually on record as saying the furthest that he's ever thrown the ball is 83 yards. So we're actually a little short from the 83 yards. But what's important are these things have to be earned. They can be countered. He can be taken out of the zone via a sack, a fumble, an interception. Then he'll lose that ability. And you can earn and knock out multiple times over the course of a season. These are meant to be special moments that these players bring up in the NFL. So that's a great example of a zone ability.
Okay. I've heard a few things thrown around the office. I've heard some other names thrown out there. So I'll name some real quick for you, and you can kind of talk a little bit about what they are. You know, what kind of gets the player in the zone and what you can do to get them out of the zone. I heard like rack them up is one of those flying around here in the office.
Yeah, rack 'em up is the zone ability for rack catch, essentially rack catch specialist. This player is going to excel at using the rack catch mechanic, and when he's making rack catches, if he's single covered while in the zone, he is going to be very successful at catching contested catches and hanging on first hits when using rack catch. And again, that's something that player is going to have to earn via in-game objectives, make a certain number of catches for a certain amount of yardage, and also be able to get knocked out by the defense. Either, you know, you could go for a user interception if you want to lurk, or you can do a catch tackle knockout, knock the ball out, cause a drop or an incompletion. That's another way to knock that guy out of the zone.
Got it. Another one that I heard was first one free.
First one free. Yeah, that's a running back zone ability. So if you get a set amount of rushes for a good amount of yards, let's, for example, say you're going to need 4 rushes for 45 yards to get in the zone or something like that, then your next attempt at a juke spin or hezi move is going to give you a very high chance of a fake out. Again, same thing. First one free can be knocked out if you tackle that ball carrier for a loss of yards or cause a fumble via hit stick. He will lose his zone ability and then have to re-earn that over the course of the game or the next game.
Got it. And I know one of the things you mentioned kind of earlier was that you guys are still doing tuning on a lot of these things based off of just information I'm assuming you're getting from play test and just kind of people here playing in the studio and whatnot. Is that correct?
Yeah, all of the zone criteria, what we are currently referring to as triggers and knockouts, that's still very fluid and things that are being locked down as we finalize the game.
Cool. Well, the last one I heard, and it's kind of funny, is fearmonger. I mean, that was one of the in the zone abilities that I kind of heard going through the hallway. Probably because Scant was walking by, you know, and I'm like, man, that guy definitely strikes the fear of God in you when he's walking down the hall. But yeah, so talking about fearmonger.
Fearmonger is one of our pass rusher abilities, and this also is going to come with a little bit of a gameplay teaser, which I know we're not diving deep into tonight, but we have redone how pressure from the pass rush impacts our quarterback. We've overhauled that space, and with that comes this new ability called Fearmonger. When this player is in the zone, he's going to be able to apply pressure penalties to the quarterback from a further distance, and also while engaged in a block, which is going to be the only way you're going to be able to apply pressure to the quarterback when engaged with a blocker.
Okay. So we talked about zone abilities. Let's talk about, you know, the superstar abilities, right? And, you know, one of them I heard around here was escape artist, and it's something that just for the folks that we're talking about these right now. Once we're done walking through some of these superstar abilities, we're going to go ahead and actually show you guys our cover athlete, what his zone abilities are, what are his superstar abilities, so that you guys can have some context in regards to what's going on here. But let's talk about superstar abilities. I've heard escape artist out there. What is escape artist?
Yeah, that's another popular one here in our internal testing. But before we get into the details, I want to make clear the difference between superstar abilities and zone abilities. So like I said, zone abilities are something you have to earn with an in-game objective, and those objectives are going to be dynamic based on the game style you're playing on. So they're going to be harder on competitive than they are arcade. Superstar abilities are always available and going to be used situationally. So now we can jump into fast break. escape artist. We'll cover fast break in a second. So escape artist is the scramble ability used on mobile quarterbacks. And this is going to give those players elite speed and agility when scrambling on passing plays behind the line of scrimmage. These things are going to be there the entire game. You don't have to earn them, and you can't knock them out of that, but there are going to be counters built in. Another gameplay teaser, so we did a lot of work on QB contain, and that is the counter to this ability. So if you want to keep this really fast guy in the pocket, like Lamar Jackson, you're going to want to use your QB contains, you're going to want to use your QB spies, and there's also going to be an increased risk of fumbling with these scrambling quarterbacks.
Got it. Okay. Fast break. I know you talked about that just recently. Before we went ahead and talked about escape bars. What's going on with fast break?
Yeah, fast break is pretty cool as well. It's the running version of escape artist. So on designed quarterback run plays, and that's important because, like I said, these are situational. So you're going to need a playbook that supports the type of players you have on your team.
Okay.
On designed quarterback run plays, the fast break ability is going to give the quarterback immediate ball carrier control, meaning the second that you receive the snap, you can go any direction you want. You're not going to be locked into the direction of the play. You can run left, right, outside, inside. And because of that ability, that's going to give a delay in the read and react time of the defense. So it's going to allow you a little bit more time to decide which lane you want to run through. And again, the same type of counters are there. You're going to have a higher risk of fumble. You're going to also drain your stamina while doing these things. We're about to talk about another one coming up soon, so I'm not going to ruin that one, but keep going.
Yeah, so Slot-O-Matic was one of the other ones I heard about superstar abilities. It recently changed. So one of the things we talked about last stream was we had these names that were out there, and we're telling people don't get too attached to the names. Yeah. So this was one that recently went through a name change, yes. Which is Slot-O-Matic. Talk to me a little bit about Slot-O-Matic and kind of what is that counter right there.
Yeah, Slot-O-Matic is our slot machine specialist ability, and it does a number of things, but the most important thing is that this ability is only going to work on a receiver when he's aligned in the slot. So Julian Edelman, I think you'd mentioned him earlier, he has the Slot-O-Matic ability. If you have him aligned out wide, he's not going to get any of those advantages as he would when he's in the slot. Some of those advantages are he's going to get elite cuts when running routes. He's also going to be very reliable at catching contested passes when running short routes from the slot. So we're talking about drags, hitches, curls, things like that. Utilizing these players to their strengths are what are going to allow our players to get the most out of them and diversify each player to make them feel special.
Got it. I really like that. The whole idea here is to make the players feel special and authentic at the end of the day, that they're playing like these NFL superstars, which is really cool. The next thing is Enforcer.
Flying in a quick question for you. Across all game modes?
Great question. That's a great question. Yep.
Charles.
Yeah, so I'm assuming someone in the chat brought that up. When it comes down to game modes, how do these abilities work across the board?
That is a great question, and that is one of the great things about the way that we built this feature is these are going to be used in a unique way across all of our modes. So they're going to be used in Ultimate Team via the player upgrades that you've grown accustomed to, with a lot of new cool stuff that we are going to reveal at a different time. Obviously, what we're talking about is for regs and base rosters. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then as you jump into franchise, you're going to take those in with you on that roster. But what I'm really excited about inside of franchise is you're going to be able to use these things as a progression tool to build your team. Okay. And also through the draft, there's going to be players that you're going to have to scout and find that are going to have the ability to earn superstar abilities and zone abilities and become X factors. That's going to bring some differentiation into that mode as well through these abilities. So there's going to be more details coming on all of that stuff in upcoming blogs and streams.
Okay.
So I don't want to give up too much, but great question from Farrells over there and the chat as well.
Chat. Thank you guys so much. Really appreciate that. Farrells, man of the people, is out there lurking the chat, making sure we answer some of these questions live, some of the feedback that we got last week from you guys. So last but not least, superstar ability. Let's talk about Enforcer, and then we'll go ahead and give people an example of our cover athlete, like what's going on with his zone abilities and his superstar abilities.
Enforcer is another cool ability. It's a defensive ability, and very simply will not allow broken hit sticks. So when you're using this player, regardless of the size or speed of the player that he's hit sticking, guy Bobby Wagner has this, Harrison Smith from the Vikings. Currently, again, all fluid, not set in stone, but when you hit stick with this player, he's not going to allow broken hit stick tackles.
Got it. So at the end of the day, just run for my life.
Yeah. Avoid this player.
Yeah.
So Scan's standing in the background right now. He wants me to mention something, so I'll mention it for him. another teaser for gameplay. We're doing gameplay here in a couple weeks, but we've also reworked how hit sticks work. So there's more broken hit sticks globally. We're really focusing on the ratings matchup and the weight and the momentum of the players in hit sticks, which is going to make abilities like this more valuable. So you're going to want the enforcer if you're a big hit stick player. Otherwise, you do risk having more broken hit sticks when attempting that tackle.
Great stuff, man. So, okay, well, you know what? I think a lot of people are wondering, okay, how does this kind of come into play when you're actually looking at an athlete? We're going to go ahead and pull up a graphic that we have right here of Patrick Mahomes, our Madden 20 cover athlete, and we're going to go ahead and walk through each of his zone abilities, and then we're also going to go ahead and look at his superstar abilities. So we have him right here. First off, he has bazooka. So we talked about that earlier in the broadcast.
Yep.
Let's go ahead and reiterate again exactly what does bazooka do and kind of what are the things that get him in the zone and out of the zone.
Yep, like we said earlier, bazooka is going to allow him to throw an 80-yard pass by increasing his max pass distance. So you're going to be able to unlock that via an in-game objective. And that objective might look something like 4 or 5 completed passes for 30 or more yards on each completion. The defense can knock you out of the zone by getting a sack, a fumble, or an interception. One thing I want to note about bazooka is initially, just like many of us internally, there's probably some like, whoa, 80-yard pass, that sounds weird. It's situational again, right? In order to get an 80-yard pass, you need to be inside your own 25. You need to get time to throw the pass. You're going to need a receiver that's going to be able to get that deep before you get sacked. The teaser, pass rush may not facilitate you getting that pass off a lot. So you're going to want to use these things strategically, and they're meant to change the way that you play both offense and defense.
Yeah, and that's great. I mean, I think there's a lot of feedback that we heard from folks. At the end of the day, it's not something that you're always going to get. You got to be very tactical in how you're using these zone abilities.
Yes.
And it's something that you really have to scheme and plan against. So let's go ahead and take a quick look as well at Patrick Mahomes' superstar abilities. We see he also has, give me 1 second here.
Dashing Deadeye. I got you, man. Okay, so yeah, one of his superstar abilities, which is going to be available to him in every game that he plays in, is Dashing Deadeye, and that is perfect pass accuracy when on the run. The counter to this is obviously putting pressure on him. So you're going to see a theme once you start to read more about our abilities. A lot of the passing abilities are known as some form of Deadeye. And the counter to those Deadeye abilities is putting pressure on the quarterback. So that adds value to the abilities that allow defenders to put extra pressure on the quarterback. I also already mentioned QB Contain. And then there's some edge rush abilities that I think are going to be pretty popular in keeping players in the pocket. But perfect passing accuracy on the run is just like what it says. We have different levels of accuracy in our game in terms of throwing a pass. And so when you're throwing on the run with Patrick Mahomes, which is something that he really excels at
for sure
in real life, he's going to have an extra level of accuracy that nobody else has in that situation.
In the spirit of dashing Deadeye, I also know he has like a red zone Deadeye and a no look Deadeye. Can we talk about both of those superstar abilities?
Yep, we'll go through these real quick. So red zone Deadeye, very similar to the other one. It's perfect pass accuracy when you're inside the red zone. Same counters as dashing Deadeye. When you're inside the 20-yard line going in, you don't have to worry about throwing inaccurate passes as long as you are not throwing from an under pressure state, and you can do that both while on the run or inside the pocket. And then no look Deadeye. This one truly right now is exclusive to Patrick Mahomes. He's going to be the only player in the game that can throw perfect passing accuracy on cross-body throws. Now, I know our community is going to hear that, and they're going to raise a little bit of an eyebrow, especially coming off of a very high-level Mike Vick year
for sure.
Inside of Ultimate Team. So we also reworked how our passing accuracy works in game, and it's extremely difficult to complete a pass when throwing those on-the-run cross-body throws.
Yeah.
You're going to get a lot more inaccurates in that case and other things that we're going to talk about at a later time. But this ability is going to allow him to do that.
Awesome.
Also exclusive to Patrick Mahomes, when you're making cross-body throws, you are going to be able to trigger his signature no-look animation on that throw. And that is going to be only for Patrick Mahomes. So the ability will be able to be used by other players inside a franchise and Ultimate Team, but Patrick Mahomes specifically will have the ability to do a no-look.
That's awesome. And I know that when Greg will come on shortly, he'll talk a little bit about kind of making our players, appear authentic in game, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I also know Patrick Mahomes has that escape artist that we talked about a little bit earlier, which you went ahead and talked through some of those superstar abilities right there. But yeah, man, anything else you want to add regarding zone abilities, superstar abilities? Any parting words for the audience?
The thing that I think is most important for us to note about Superstar X Factors is they're meant to bring authenticity to the game. They're meant to separate the elite players from everybody else and give you that emotional connection to your favorite players. They're meant to replicate these guys who take over the games on Sundays, the guys that we watch football to watch play. It's bringing a level of authenticity that transcends what we've been used to in terms of what ratings brings to the game.
For sure.
They're a really nice complement to ratings to get the outcomes that you're really expecting from superstar players. And also, I hate to bring the word up, but it also decreases RNG when you have these elite players. You're getting outcomes that we're saying, hey, you do this situation, you know exactly what you're going to get because you have this good player.
That's awesome, man. Well, thank you so much, Clint, for coming through, giving the context.
Yeah, man.
Just being utterly transparent and kind of give us a little hint into what's coming in gameplay on 523 Part 2. Clint will be back to kind of give more context on what we're doing in gameplay, what's going on with playbooks, all that kind of great stuff. So, again, Clint, thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.